inspired by the moon. Oh, hi, Alex. Welcome.
Welcome.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We wrote in the meetup description, we don't do chit chat. Yeah, because we are recording on YouTube. It's for our premium members, so it's not open to the public. But yeah, in the other meetups, we have a lot of interaction. That's why people love these meetups, Buddhism for beginners. So yeah, tonight, this one is every 2 weeks. Every Friday, we have Purpose and Meaning Lab at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We talk about, the meaning in the hardships we go through and how we can have more motivation to go forward. And on Saturdays, we talk about happiness, 10 a.m. And Wednesdays, we talk about karma, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And Monday nights, it's 8 p.m. Pacific time, right view. Yeah, how to see things the way they are, not how we want to see them. Yeah, very good. So happy to have you here. And yeah, very good. Yeah, JK is gonna say something too. Yeah, JK has been helping us with the YouTube channel, so we are very grateful to him and his team members. Thank you, JK, for helping the Dharma to be known by more people, because that's we believe it brings a lot of joy to anyone who learns the Dharma, the teachings that help us remove our biases.
Yeah, thank you, Beta, and thank you, Yuchi. And without you both, it would not have been possible. So it's a wonderful Right View Lab channel we have. And I would like to have a member shout out. Thank you to all the paid members, the Dharma level members like Laurie, Rick, Dennis, Stephania, Mr. Pat Thorok, Christine, Yami Yuku, Annie, and Monica. So we wholeheartedly thank you both, Beta and Yuchi, as well.
Yeah, thank you, JK. And yeah, it's good to grow our community in this way with the YouTube channel. And yeah, we also record like our lessons after the recitation meditation every day. We have a lot of lessons. We record them. They're all on the YouTube channel. That part is open to the public. And yeah, I put the link in the chat box here for our YouTube channel. And so those short lectures are good to share with our loved ones too. A lot of us know friends or family members who are struggling in life, and they're looking for answers. So they are appreciative of receiving some guidance. So we can share, or maybe one of the YouTube videos about like happiness or what is true bravery. That was today's topic. And the difference between means of living versus purpose. It's more like, which is more important, the journey or the destination? And some people say journey is more important. And some people say destination is more important, because what if you enjoy the journey, but then you end up in a war zone? And the joke is that, well, which is more important, the journey or the destination? If it's a joke, the answer is your companion, who you are on this journey with. Because as we all know, if we are with a person who is a good companion, a good friend, we can enjoy the journey. But otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Yeah. Very good. So welcome to this program here. We're gonna review some of the content of the meetups we've had in the past 2 weeks, as much as we have the time. So just some of it. And the last maybe 15 minutes or something, we will be happy to hear your questions. You can ask your questions then, or you can type your questions in the chat box anytime, And then I will be happy to read your questions, and then Yuichi and I will answer them at the end. So thank you for being here, and thank you, Yuichi, for having prepared for the first half. So let's hear from you.
Okay, great. So in today's lecture style meeting, we're going to summarize first the Karma Lab of the previous week, and then the Happiness Lab. And if you have time, we will touch upon the content of Purpose Lab. Yeah, it's up to how much time we have. So anyway, first, yeah, I think some of you are really new to Buddhism. So I want to start with a very basic knowledge about Buddhism. I think you know the lotus flower is always used in the picture of Buddha or the statue of Buddha. It's lotus flower actually is the only flower that is used in Buddhism. And there are few reasons for it. So today I want to show one of the reasons why lotus flower is so special. Yeah, there are 5 features, but one of them is how it blooms is very different from other flowers. Other flowers bloom little by little, gradually, right? It takes time. But lotus flower is completely different. Do you know how it blooms? It blooms in an instant. So I'd like to show you the video first about it. Just a moment. Okay. It takes a long time, so I will cut the first part. Yeah, this is the lotus flower. And usually it has pink color or pure white color. And actually it grows from mud. It doesn't grow from firm soil. And that's also one of the features. But today's video shows how it blooms. Just pay attention. I have to fast forward a little bit. Actually, I never saw it. But, oh. Sorry, I missed it once again. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's how a lotus flower blooms. So it represents how our spiritual awakening happens in our mind. Actually, achieving such spiritual awakening is the goal of Buddhism. And we all can achieve it in this lifetime. So our spiritual journey is not an endless journey. There is a clear goal. So having this purpose clearly is the topic of the purpose-driven lab. But we all have to understand we have this clear goal. And we will understand it more and more by listening to Dharma. Okay, today's main topic is about the journey. Yeah, Bila said, in our journey, what is most important? Destination or the journey? Actually, both are important, but destination is more important because without having a clear destination, we don't know which direction we should move. So first, we need to decide the direction. And then we start walking or running. And no energy will be wasted if we are headed for the right direction. If we start running without fixing our destination, then maybe we will be running to the opposite direction. Then all our effort will be wasted. So first we have to set our destination, and then we just start running in full tilt. And then let's say, yeah, we all understand the destination. Then how we can move forward is very important. First, I want to share with you the foundation of Buddhism, which is the law of cause and effect. I think we sometimes hear this expression, the law of cause and effect, or cause-effect relationship, or the law of causality. In science, they talk a lot about it. And maybe in legal issue at the court, cause and effect are always discussed. All the phenomena in this world happen because there were causes. Without the cause, nothing will happen. And if there is a cause, an effect will always follow. So based on this principle, Buddha taught the law of cause and effect of Buddhism. It's very simple, but at the same time, it's very profound. Let me show it with you. Not this one. Okay, this one. Okay. The law of cause and effect, also known as the law of karma, you can reap only what you sow. Karma is like seed, like a seed. So we create a karma, then it means we planted a seed. You can reap only what you sow. This is the law of nature. All the farmers follow this law. And then all the farmers know very well this law. You can reap only what you sow. It's common sense. And also good actions yield good results. Bad actions bring bad results. Actions means our karma. So good karma yield good result, which is happiness. Bad karma bring bad results, which means misfortune or problem. And one's own action, one's own karma determine one's own fate. Our karma shape our future. We heard this phrase a lot during the pandemic. I saw this phrase in the subtitle in a news program. Our action, whether we put our mask on our face or not, determine, shape our future. They emphasized a lot. This is part of the law of cause and effect, I think. And Buddha said there is no exception to this law. So the more we understand this law, and the more we put our trust into this law, we can put this law into practice. What kind of practice? Practice means that the conclusion of this law. I think this is really simple and obvious, because what we want is good results And what we don't want is bad results. Then what we need to do is also very clear. We are encouraged to practice and create good karma and refrain from creating bad karma. So Buddha's conclusion, he said, practice good deed and avoid creating bad karma. So naturally, Buddha taught what kind of good deed there are for us to practice, so that we don't get lost in the way. Yeah, today I cannot cover them all, but those are 6 types of good deed. And this was taught out of Buddha's deep, profound wisdom. So he carefully chose these 6. So if you focus on one of them, you will end up practicing all the 6. So all you have to do is just pick up one and focus on it. Today, I want to focus on the fifth one, making effort. So before I explain this, first, let me share with you, how much we can understand or put our trust into this law. We can accept these laws easily to some extent, because we know those might be true based on our experiences, but at the same time, we think there must be some exceptions. Like even if we practice good actions, sometimes we get bad results. Or some people create bad karma, but they receive good results. It seems completely against the law of cause and effect. How did Buddha explain that? And people believe there must be some exceptions to this law. So if we have doubt, if we are a skeptic, we cannot put everything we have to practice good deed. We become hesitant and we slack off. And sometimes it seems like good actions actually brings bad results. And that's also what everyone experiences. So all the more, we cannot become very enthusiastic in practicing good deed. That can be the break, that can be hindrance for our practice. Maybe in the short run, what we assume might be right in the very short run. And actually, human beings are nearsighted. We cannot have very long-term perspective. But we need to have a long-term perspective, because after a long time, many months or few years, the result become much clearer, because people who practice good actions on a regular basis, they can receive really big, good results. It's like having a fixed term deposit. Maybe we don't have that deposit recently, but in the past, fixed term deposit means you deposit your money in the bank account and you cannot withdraw your own money for like 2 or 3 years, so that the bank can use the money for different investment. So they can rely on your money. It's a fixed term deposit. Customers don't withdraw money during 2 or 3 years. So the rate is higher. Interest is higher. So after 2 or 3 years, you can receive a bigger return than the ordinary deposit. So people who practice good deed on a regular basis, steadily, even if it's slow, but steadily, every day, after 2 or 3 years, what they receive is so big. So I want to prove this with a very simple example. It's about making of effort. Okay, let's say there are 2 company employees, employee A and employee B. The number 100 and the 50 represents their capability. Employee A is very capable. He has talent, inborn talent, and maybe he's been very good. And although they, A and B, were hired at the same time, apparently A seems more capable than B. So the number represents their capability, proficiency. So A is 100. The B is unfortunately 50. But A didn't practice good deed. I mean, didn't work so hard. So he slacked off. He didn't make much effort, while employee B strived harder every day, every month, in order to make self-improvement. So let's say A put his 90% of effort, and the B put every month 110% effort. So let's see what will happen. This is the first month. The performance, A's performance is 90, B's performance 55. Second month, A's performance 81, B's performance 61. Still A is capable, more capable. Third month, A's performance 73, B's performance 66, becoming closer and closer. And the fourth month, A's performance becomes 66, and B's performance now surpass A's performance because B's performance 73. So this is the lesson of the famous fairy tale, the race between rabbit and the tortoise. Of course, rabbit could run very fast and the tortoise only walk slowly. But at the end of the race, which one won the race? The result was surprisingly ended with tortoise victory. So the employee B is like a tortoise and A is like a rabbit. So this happened only after 4 months. So, our spiritual journey is about our purpose. I'm sorry, about our life. It's our lifelong journey. So how far, how deep we understand this law and put it into practice, this will surely transform our life completely. Because people who don't practice good deed, of course, that attitude will be repeated every year. And even if we have never been so diligent, but let's say we have encountered with Dharma, Buddha's wisdom, and learned the law of cause and effect, and deeply convinced. From that day on, we start practicing little by little good deed, and then we continue listening to the Dharma so that we don't digress so much. We will keep on track and on the right track. If we continue that, next month and half a year later, 1 year later, the result will be so different from other people who haven't encountered Dharma yet. In this way, we can move forward on our spiritual journey, and then that's how we approach our ultimate goal. So, yeah, I want to continue a little more, but let's take a break here. Then we will start the second segment, in which Buddha will summarize the happiness love of the previous week. So let's have a 1 minute break here.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Yuki, for your explanations on karma and how we will be able to lead more joyful lives when we see that our everyday actions are actually shaping our future and our happiness at this present moment too. So yeah, my segment is about happiness. And let me share the screen here with you. Yeah, so happiness can be very tricky because we all have experiences of happiness here and there, but then when it fades away, we feel like we're back at square one. And then we kind of get disappointed and we wonder why happiness is so elusive. And we've been talking about happiness, like there are different elements or aspects of happiness. Somebody used the acronym CLEG, C like standing for community. To be joyful in life, we need to have some kind of a community. We need to find a community that we feel comfortable belonging to. In Buddhism, Buddha called it the Sangha, Sangha, the like-minded friends who get together and talk about life and hardships we go through and the meaning we can have through those hardships. So that's community, or it can be L for learning. If we constantly have a sense of learning, self-improvement, then naturally we can feel joyful that we're doing something with our lives. And the E is about emotional connection. So even if we become very successful in life, if we don't have emotional connection, nobody to share our success or joyful experiences with, maybe it's not going to be possible to feel truly happy. And then there are two G's. One G is for gratitude, to be able to know why am I so blessed? So every time we feel we are blessed, oh, I just had some water, or I enjoyed this conversation with this friend, or I'm here sharing this space with all of you, thanks to Zoom, thanks to Meetup, thanks to all the people who have made these technological advancements. So to ask ourselves, why am I so blessed? Find the cause behind it. And then the other G is for giving. The more we see how blessed we are, the more we want to give back. So these are all things that determine our level of happiness, and we can take it to the nth level as much as we want. So it's up to us because it's karma. What do we allow to think or speak or do? So that's directly determining the level of joy we can have. But this time the focus of happiness was on praise. And we have this saying here, praise from one person you respect is worth more than praise from tens of thousands you do not. I think on Instagram or Facebook, social media, there are some people who feel they have so many followers, it's like about millions or something. But sometimes they talk about how they don't really feel necessarily happy about it. Maybe because they don't have that emotional connection with those tens of thousands of followers. Or maybe they still don't know what they truly stand for. So if we can find one person, we don't need 100,000 or 10,000, one person that we respect, that means if we find our true self, what do I stand for? And who do I have respect for? If we find that person, that will translate into a lot of happiness. Okay, now why is that? If you go over the purpose of Buddhism, we have these meetups like 4 or 5 times a week. We are one of the most active Buddhist groups in the USA or in the world. So because the purpose of Buddhism is actually eliminating suffering and enabling joyfulness. So if we trace this back to the words of the Buddha as it got translated to Chinese, that's how they write it with Chinese characters. It's pronounced as Baku Yoraku. So basically it means this character is suffering, to remove suffering and empower or enable joyfulness. That's the purpose of Buddhism, why we have all these meetups. learning the Dharma ourselves and sharing it with other people. So if we don't understand what it is that's truly troubling us, causing us to suffer, then how can we have it eliminated? And then how can we have that joyfulness activated? Yeah. So it's twofold. This purpose of Buddhism is twofold. So only eliminating suffering. It's like, if you have your child suffering from stomach ache or something, as a parent, we will do everything to ease their stomach ache. And then once they are free of physical pain, that's not enough usually for very good parents. They want to see their child to smile again, to laugh and run around in the house, that liveliness. So they want to enable that joyfulness. So that's why in Buddhism, this happiness is like twofold. And that's the purpose. And yeah, so how do we understand our suffering, or why do we even struggle in life? We use this book a lot in our meetups. You're not so smart. Yeah, Yuichi talks about it a lot, by David McRaney. And this is a quote from this book, just 3 short slides. This tendency to see ourselves as above average is bad. If we never see how much we are screwing up in our life, mistreating our friends and being a complete, like, unsavory person, we can destroy ourselves without realizing how bad things have become. So not being aware of our suffering, that's actually the biggest problem. It's like being in the dark and have no idea that it's all dark, and then we don't even try to turn on the light. And this, yeah, another quote here. The last 30 years worth of research shows just about all of us think we are more competent than our coworkers, more ethical than our friends, friendlier than the general public, more intelligent than our peers, more attractive than the average person, less prejudiced than people in our region, younger looking than people the same age, better drivers than most people we know, better children than our siblings, and that we will live longer than the average lifespan. As you just read that list, maybe you said to yourself, no, I don't think I'm better than anyone else. So you think you're more honest with yourself than the average person? You're not so smart. So even when we say, no, I'm not like that, in a sense, we want to feel that, yeah, I'm above the average. And actually, most people are not aware that they're doing this. And inadvertently, they put down their spouse, their friends, their coworkers, or their neighbors. And so conflicts begin to arise. And that removes our sense of happiness. The findings of these studies showed you tend to accept credit when you succeed, but blame bad luck, unfair rules, difficult instructors, bad bosses, cheaters, and so on when we fail. When things are going our way, our attitude, or we attribute everything to our amazing skills. But once the tide turns, we look for external factors that prevented our genius from shining through. Yeah, so this is why I think Yuichi was saying, to understand karma it takes time, because already we are biased to take the credit for ourselves when things go well, but then when things don't go well, we are very quick to point finger at others. Again, this is another reason we cannot find that inner joyfulness. Even if we have some glimpses of happiness, it just vanishes because subconsciously we are doing all these things that don't serve us really well. And Buddha would say that, why does that happen? Why do we constantly distort things? We don't see things the way they are. Buddha says we all have 7 kinds of conceit. So the first one is just the ordinary conceit, to think that, oh, like if I score 70% on the math test, but my friend scores 90%. No, sorry, this is the opposite. I scored 90%, my friend scores 70%. That's the easy one to understand. Like, yeah, I'm smarter, I scored better. Naturally, we have that feeling. Yeah. And then if we are not aware of it, we might say things like that to our friends or spouse or coworkers, and we hurt them. The second one is greater conceit. So this one is I score 70 and my friend scores 72, 70. So that means we are all equal. We're both equal. But yet deep inside, I might think that, oh, I scored 70% because I had to work full time to pay for my college tuition. But my friend, she is wealthy and her parents are covering all her college tuition. She didn't have to work. And so I'm smarter because I scored the same as her while working full time. And then the third one is excessive conceit. And this one is like, now I score 70% and my friend scores 90%. So obviously she outperformed me. But still inside, we try to bring reasons why we are better. Otherwise, we can't sit still. We can't be at ease. We might rationalize the thing like, oh, okay, well, she's smarter than me in this subject. But look at her. All she does is studying. She doesn't have a social life. Of course, she got 90% better score than me, but she doesn't have a social life. Even her dog doesn't like her. But me, I'm a well-rounded person. I scored lower, but I'm a well-rounded person, so I'm better. So in this way, we have the conceit, excessive conceit. And then obstinate conceit is even when we find out we are wrong, like it's obvious, it's proven we were in the wrong. We try to justify it, not to accept that we were wrong, and so that we don't apologize. Let's say there is a red object, small like this size, on the floor, and you're like, oh, what is this red bean doing here? And your roommate says, oh, it's not a red bean, it's a ladybug, it's an insect. You're like, no, it's a red bean, come on. And your roommate says, no, it's an insect. And while we argue to show which one of us is right, the little thing begins to take off and fly away. Obviously, it was an insect, but whoever said it was a red bean, they might say, oh, it's a red bean that can move or can fly. So we still obstinately, we hold on to that opinion we had, even when we're proven to be wrong. And the fifth one is the grandiose conceit. And this one is, we were talking about the journey versus destination. Most of us, we just live life trying to make every day kind of not to suffer too much, as pleasant as possible. And from the perspective of the Buddha, people don't know their true purpose in life. Like, why is it we are here? Why we were born if you have to die? And yet everyone kind of thinks that, oh, I know why I'm living life. I know where I'm going, what I'm going to accomplish. So that's the grandiose conceit. And then the humble conceit. This is, especially when some people, they try to exercise humility. So they do apologize. And like in Japan, they even bow their head very deeply. Like even the CEO of Toyota company would come in front of camera when there was some kind of a defect in the manufacturing process. He would come and bow so deeply, but maybe deep inside, we might think, oh, look at me. No one is as humble as I am. so yeah, even if we try to be humble, we still take pride in it. And then the seventh one is evil conceit, which is to be proud of things that are not really worthy of being prideful about. Like students before the test, before they take the examination, they like, oh, I didn't study at all. What am I gonna do? And their friend said, oh, don't worry, I haven't even bought the textbook yet. So in this way, they try to show their superiority. So this kind of suffering, conceit is one of the unwholesome karma we all create, if I make connection to what Yuichi explained. So through this unwholesome karma, it's going to be difficult to experience good effects. So we need to raise our awareness and counteract it. And how do we counteract it? We need to cultivate compassion. The more we cultivate compassion, the more joy we feel in our own hearts. This is a passage from Sutta Nipata by the Buddha. If one going down into a river, swollen and swiftly flowing, is carried away by the current, how can one help others across? So what's the reason? Many people tell me, well, it's difficult to practice or cultivate compassion, because Buddhism keeps teaching us, if you want to be happy, all you have to do is focus on giving. That's as simple as that. Happiness means focus on giving. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on giving. Think about the happiness of other people too, not just your own. However, many people, when they still don't understand what suffering is or how to eliminate it, they don't have that process of their suffering getting reduced or minimized or lessened. Then going down into the river of life, the river is swollen and swiftly flowing. It's not just very calm and quiet. It's swiftly flowing. Then we end up getting carried away by the current. Then how can we help other people across this river? So that's why listening to the Dharma, like Yuichi explained in the first half, listening to the teachings little by little, steadily, it actually lessens and diminishes our suffering. That's why we will be able to help other people with their struggles. And as we focus on giving and helping others, our happiness will increase. Yeah, and so going back to the original quote that we had about the getting praised by one person that we have respect for. Why is that so important? You know, in life, we all have this our cognition, that we think this or that. But actually, whatever we think, at the bottom, like if you imagine this iceberg, we only see the tip of the iceberg, what is in our cognition, which is constantly being influenced by this huge part of the iceberg at the bottom. It is not easily visible to us, but subconsciously we keep thinking, I want this, I want that. And then because we cannot have these needs met, we struggle, and then we don't know, why am I so unhappy? We don't see the direct cause of it because it's hidden from our view. Listening to the Dharma is like we're going down more and more. So we gain awareness of what's going on in our mind, and this hidden part gets revealed to us. So what is that part, that I want this, I want that? Buddha says that we all have 5 desires. Actually, we are made of these 5 desires. For example, desire for food, desire for wealth or possessions, desire for companionship, to share our life with someone, or desire for recognition, validation. It feels good when we get praised, and it doesn't feel so good when we get criticism. So we dislike it. That's a desire. And a desire for sleep and leisure. So most people actually are not aware that they have these 5 desires. As we learn the Dharma, it becomes more and more clear. We all have these 5 desires. And so today's topic was number 4. we all have this desire for recognition and validation. That's why blindly people just want to have a lot of followers, not knowing what for. And then they don't get the fulfillment because, like we read at the beginning, so instead of having tens of thousands of people following us, we need one person we respect, who acknowledges our effort. So the bottom line is, this is another aspect of happiness I went over, is if we can meet that one person that we can have our efforts acknowledged by, that translates into tremendous happiness. And like Yuichi often shares with us, we already met that one person, and that's the Buddha. Yeah, because thanks to the teachings of the Buddha, we are able to know how to eliminate suffering so we can have more and more joyfulness in the heart. Okay, so this was my presentation. If you have questions about my presentation or Yuichi's, you can mention it. If there are no questions, maybe I can read. Oh. Okay, then maybe I can read another story. Okay. So let's stop sharing for now here. I don't know how I ended up in the. Okay. Or maybe the values that comes soon. Okay, good. Okay, so any questions? Anyone here? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's about that quote about the current.
Mm-hmm.
So it says it was like something about you get lost away by the current. Um, what if like the current is inside of you? It's not outside of you, the current.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Actually, yeah, Buddha would say, yeah, ultimately speaking, the current is internal. Let's go back to this one. Yeah. It is internal for sure. So that means you've done a lot of soul searching to be able to say that, yeah, that the current is actually internal. Mm-hmm. So what do we do with it? As we listen to the Dharma, the teachings like I shared here today, you will be able to see the cause and effect relationship. That's like more like what Yuichi explained. Good causes produce good effects, and bad causes produce bad effects. And my causes produce my effects. So, for example, actually, yeah, this current, right? Yeah, before I found Buddhism, I was being carried away by that current. You know, like for example, if we watch the news a lot, which in many households the TV is on, 24/7. So you keep hearing these horrible things happening. And and then okay, yeah. So we keep hearing these things happening and it affects our psyche. So that's part of that current. It's just that before we learn the Dharma, before we learn the Dharma, we don't see this cause and effect relationship. But after we learn the teachings, we're like, oh, being exposed to all that negativity makes me. I was already a pessimist. I was already at the bottom of despair. I was already struggling with depression. And now being bombarded by all these horrible things happening, because they're happening like they were happening more like, we get like intense exposure to all these bad things, and it's in all different places. But when you hear it, it feels like it's the end of the world. We end up catastrophizing. Yeah. So does that give you some hint or clue, Antonio?
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm. Maybe Yuichi can also add something about this internal current. Buddha calls us blind passions. Buddha called it blind passions, which trouble and torment us. Yeah. But I think Yuichi also had the karma segment. Maybe he can share more.
I saw a lot of such current in one of the Buddha's slide. Can you show us the picture of slide of the iceberg? Yeah, those are the current in our mind. Sometimes, those arrows become so strong and big, and our cognition will be overwhelmed by that. So, specifically speaking, that can be our strong desire. I crave for something so badly, that's the big current. Or sometimes when we are offended or we get irritated, and such strong irritation or frustration or anger becomes great currents, and then we get swept away. Yeah, so that's the power of human blind passions. So actually, this is the experience that almost all people have in their daily life. So this is what the practice of 6 parameter kicks in. Yeah, so one of them, is patience. So we need to keep our patience, our daily practice. Yeah, we should become patient person. Then we won't be overwhelmed so much by those strong current from the bottom of our mind. They are really strong, but all we can do is try not to react. This is the practice of patience, and it's a really, really important practice. So we should all learn how to be patient. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah. So no wonder they say patience is a virtue. And the stronger the current of thought, the more we can find the urgency and the necessity of doing the good deeds. Yeah, so it can be anything that suits our personality. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry, you lost connection. So now if you join the YouTube channel, you can see the part you missed. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, JK. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Beta and Yuchi. And I just wanted to make a member shout out once again, for before we close this session. Thank you to all the paid member of the Dharma level, Laurie, Rick, Dennis, Stephanie, Mr. Parth, Christine, Yami Yuval, Anne, and Monica, and of course, including me, JK. Beta and Yuchi, you are the one who's hosting it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, JK, for creating this YouTube channel for us so that we can go to it anytime to listen to the teachings. So that's actually the best way. The reason we have all these lessons recorded, not just today, but we have like every day we read short stories and explain it. So we have recordings every day. And the reason we do that is that when we expose ourselves to this teaching, that's what has power, that the Dharma has the power to heal the rage or the swollen current of river. It's swollen, yeah, and actually like it's inflamed. It's Buddha said it's troubling and tormenting us. All the desires. When desires are not fulfilled, the anger erupts, and if anger cannot be expressed, it turns into bitterness and resentment. Yeah, and all of this, like a lotus flower that grows out of the mud, like Yuichi shared with us, all of these troubling things can turn and become the source of our gratitude and joy. So that's the good news. But it's through the power of Dharma, has such a healing power. So good job again, everyone, for being here so late at night. And yeah, thank you, JK, again for the YouTube channel. And yeah, if you can support us by joining YouTube channel, we'll be very happy. And take good care. Let's stay in touch. Bye. Okay, bye, Anthony.